Hey, welcome back to Gamer Guide, Gamers of all variety. I am Rollin, and once again we're going to be looking at some Robocraft. We had the Propeller patch just come out recently, which added two new movement types, or two new movement parts to the game rather. The Propeller Tomahawk and Propeller Thunderbolt. Tomahawk is the smaller propeller, Thunderbolt's the bigger one. One's 5,000 and the other one's 25,000 cost. They're pretty close to the same top speed. One's a little bit smaller and only goes 168 miles per hour. The bigger one goes 175, but there's a big difference in CPU. And as you can see here on the back of this mech I made in preparation for the propeller patch, I left a hole that I thought would be big enough to go ahead and put these propellers in. So we'll buy a couple of the biggest ones. And I'm just kind of judging it from the picture. Back up here real quick and see if we can get this in there. But it looks like it was actually a little bit bigger than I thought. I thought it was going to be about 7 across, but it looks like it ended up being about 9 across on the biggest propeller blade. I guess we can go and try putting the smaller one in here. That one fits just fine. So the small propeller blade is 5 across in all directions and fits into the back of my mech. I dug out a little recess in the back and then I stuck the bigger blade here on the outside with this little cross beam to smartly kind of connect all 5 points to different connection points on the outer part of the hull. So the idea here is to create a mech that's also a plane and make it look kind of cool too. So that's where the Drogo Mech, I think it's called now, came from. So let's take it out and see if we can get some airtime with this thing. And sure enough, we can fly. It's not very fast necessarily, but it is working. The propeller does kind of stick out a little bit further than I thought it was going to on this thing, but the internal one is kind of a nice backup, so you just don't totally lose all your flight mechanics if you get a shot off. A little more sluggish, though, I'm noticing, than I think I probably would have liked, so I might have to go back to the drawing board on this and maybe redesign the back element. But yeah, Drogo Mech is still neat looking, and then for gun types on this, of course, I went with plasma, 6 of them, and then 4 of those nano constructors, as they're always useful for getting overclocks quickly now in the game. So I'm noticing, I mean, I can pitch up and down and fly around pretty well with this little Batwing combo I put on it. And seems like pretty decent power. I'm not too high on CPU. Overclock here, I'm trying to see if we can get up to a little higher top speed, but it does feel like a little bit sluggish. And I'm using 2 propellers, one of the smaller and one of the bigger ones. Let's see, not overly impressed. I think it's a little bit too heavy, so we might try some different stuff here real quick. Let's take it out to a game real quick and just see how this works. It is basically like having a bomber with mech legs on it. If you get into trouble and you need to land, you can do that. But it seems a little too sluggish and slow as far as the turning and stuff like that. Alright, let's take this guy out. One thing I also notice here is I'm stalling a lot mid-air, so the power isn't quite enough. I think we need like a couple more of the propellers, or maybe 2 of the bigger ones and not one of the smaller ones. That might be enough power to keep this thing afloat. So I'll go back and probably work on this one a little bit more off camera. Getting jacked up here, but I think we can pull it out without having a death in our AI game, just to kind of test it out. So not bad. That was my Drogo Mech, kind of named after a dragon, kind of named after the late Drognon, who's now working with another company. Used to be the community developer. And nothing to speak of. We did get some flag there. I think it might have been French flag. Alright, but it looks cool nonetheless. So that is Drogo Mech. Let's go ahead and create some new things now that we actually know what the propellers look like. Alright, so I had an idea here. I think I want to try building something with these mega mech legs and maybe some of the bigger propellers and see if we can get some airtime with the bigger propellers. So let me go ahead and put some blocks on it real quick. There we go. I put on the heaviest cubes, a big stack of them, just to kind of give a place to mount these propellers on. And I have an idea for putting 2 of the big propellers connected to the back of the leg and then these cubes and kind of do like a shield wall style is what I'm thinking on these. And then let's go ahead and put some on top. And then I guess maybe a couple fins too. I'm not sure how effectively these are going to help us stabilize our mech, but the idea is that if you descend, you can kind of have that nice gradual fall off when you're floating back down to the ground. We'll put one on top too, just in case it might help with turning. And let's take it out real quick and see if we can actually get this thing off the ground. Alright, here we go. And wow, that is a super jump. Wow, I think I would almost classify this as like flight in some way. I'm able to turn still. Very nice. That's pretty good. So now we have like a super jumping mega mech leg vehicle. Still not very fast, and I think that the movement speed forward is a little encumbered, but I think that is faster than walking. See if we can get up here on top of this peak. Sort of, we can get, like, drag ourselves up to the top here. So that does work, and I bet you if I didn't use the heavier blocks, we could probably get this thing to fly even better or jump even higher up. I might see how much more weight I can add on, and if we can kind of keep this super jump going, because that is pretty impressive for such a heavy thing. Those mega mech legs are really heavy too. So I'm kind of impressed that the propellers can keep it floating up in the air, and we can still get some forward momentum too. Very cool. Okay, let's take it back here. I added some guns to it. 8 of the blasters on it. Actually, it's 9. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some of these nanos here on the side, the constructors. And then let's add a couple more things to make it look a little bit better. Kind of looks like a shield wall with legs right now. We'll go ahead and put on a couple of these guys here. Radar jammers for eyeballs, and maybe we'll throw on some other cosmetics. But first, I think we're going to take it out and try it again. Alright, I'm overclocking all the way to 15, so we can get some airtime here. And you can still super jump, but it definitely feels heavier than it did before. It's not flying around like it was earlier. So there's already kind of a cap limit here on the weight, I think. But it is, I mean, you definitely can get more airtime with the props up there. I'm just not sure if it's actually worth the 400 CPU you invested into the Propeller Thunderbolt. Alright, so I went back to the drawing board a little bit here, and instead of using the biggest mech legs, I went ahead with the Colossus, the one size down. And they're a lot lighter too, and so I kind of recolored it, add a couple radars and other cosmetics to it. And let's see if that lightens it up enough where I can kind of get a little bit more airtime, because I wasn't too impressed with how much fall off I had there with the extra weight. Well, this is certainly a little bit better, but it is still a super jump. So I want to see if I can actually get the thing to be a little bit more airborne. Like when I first put the props on the Mega Mech legs, it seemed like that was pretty impressive as far as the airtime. So I think if we used like the inner slope blocks and didn't use the really heavy cubes, and we're a little more sparing with how we position things, we could probably get a flying Mega Mech leg mech, which would be kind of fun. But this is good too with the Colossus legs, for sure. Being armored up, kind of a shield wall build, that should be interesting. Alright, so instead of continuing to work on the concept with the Colossus legs, I want to try something with the sprinters now. Same kind of configuration. I'm going to use 3 legs across the front though, and connect the props to the outer 2, and the inner one will get the blades here. I also used the lighter inner slope blocks on this, so we can kind of get a feel for if we can actually fly around. It's kind of an interesting way to control this thing with the blades. Basically, you know, pressing spacebar and shift kind of controls your pitch, and then forward and backwards too kind of counteract the tilt of the vehicle. You might be able to like build or place something like this on the other control style too. So the relative tilt, that might work. I'm not so sure that these fins are actually helping me, though. It feels like I get a little bit quicker spin from the legs gyroscope when you jump, more so than actually getting help from the airplane fins. So I'm probably going to remove those and maybe add at least one, remove the top one, and maybe add some more components and some more guns to it. Alright, here is what I came up with. I have those new plasmas on it, and then I put on 4 of the nanos again. This is a great way to overclock. And then I got the 2 upper propellers, 2 rears, and then for extra components, instead of that top fin, I put on the radar jammer. Regular radar up front, and speedometer, a couple other cosmetics. Alright, let's see how we do now with this. And yes, this is definitely a whole lot better as far as super jump. Definitely I would call this like a flying instead of just super jumping, because I can kind of maintain my altitude and even climb here if I need to. Here we go, we got on top of this. And let's see how much energy we have left over. We're close to 1300 CPU. So we still have a pretty good amount of shots here with our 4 plasma guns, and then I can heal pretty well now too with the constructors on the side. Yes, definitely liking this a lot better. And the maximum speed isn't bad either on the props, but it seems a little bit more worth it. Now I'm not sure if that's a good trade-off against some of the components like the blink module and ghosts that I had to kind of give up to put the props on it, or if I should just go back to using thrusters, as they're certainly a lot less expensive, and then I'm able to stack on some of the other nice goodies. Now, I guess the benefit here is this is actually more of a flying instead of just a super jumping mech. And then also I can correct myself whenever I need to, just by pressing spacebar now instead of having to press F if I fall on my head. So that's kind of nice, with another like little added perk to having vertical propellers. So very cool, interesting part for sure, and I can definitely see some builds coming together with this for different plane concepts, like shield wall, propeller planes and stuff like that might be really interesting. Or any kind of mech like this too could be real viable. So anyway, yeah, not bad. I'm definitely gonna probably put this guy up on the shop, but I guess we've got to come up with a name. Right now I think it is like Strafe Test or something like that, so I will have to think of something here. But look, I got all the way up here to the top of that building with no problem. Pretty sweet. So thumbs up on the propellers. Alright, we got to figure out what to call this thing. I think I'm going to go with, let's do a Savage. Let's see here. Savage. The Savage Striker Mark 1. If you guys have a suggestion for a name for this vehicle, you can leave it down in the comments below. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please give a thumbs up. It's just been kind of a creative building episode in my first impressions here of the new propeller patch, but I do like it. So thumbs up from me, and I hope to see you guys back here on the channel real soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Later.